The original speech I was going to present at Macalester College in 2025. First, let me open with my sincere congratulations to all of you who are graduating and taking the next steps into a bigger world. As the chair of the Council on Asian Pacific Minnesotans, twice appointed by the governor of the state of Minnesota, I feel empowered and authorized to convey our wishes for your continuing success, and in the words of the late Minnesota legislator Paul Wellstone, I encourage you to remember, we all do better when we all do better. In the same sense, on behalf of the elders and families I've spoken with over the years, even if they may not have always said this to you, we love you and want the best for you. Keep reaching for the very best within yourselves and all living beings. You do not come from nowhere. You are part of a tradition, stories that stretch back thousands of years, and you are future ancestors whose descendants will marvel at all you achieved and all you reached for that is worthy. This journey will not be without adventure or challenge, but we believe in you. Keep learning, keep growing, celebrate these moments, and remember, our least important task is to model what we can create when conditions are perfect. But still, we look for ways to come to the table. We still believe there is a shared community we can be in harmony with. As America prepares to turn 250 years old next year, remember that key phrase, a more perfect union, but you have to want it. This is the poem I read at the 2012 London Summer Games when I represented the nation of Laos and Minnesota at the Olympics during the Year of the Dragon. Less than a minute, really, to speak to the whole world, and yet it is still taught in classrooms today about a sense of a future we see ourselves in. 12 years later, for those of us from Southeast Asia, we mark the close of a Year of the Dragon, or the Naga in our own words, and we prepare for a Year of the Snake. What can it mean? For our tradition, the dragon is the only imaginary creature of the zodiac, and embodies the possibility of dreams, wisdom, protection, and power, and all that we might reach for that we cannot yet see, that might have been, perhaps that might be. And as we pivot to the Year of the Snake, it is a year associated with wisdom, of shedding skins, and growing in knowledge, luck, kindness, and a little bit of mystery. Be present, be in this moment. But the poem goes as thus. Up on a stairway in Non Prabhan, step as you will through life, 1,000 ways, 1,000 places. Carry a home in your heart or spend years seeking the door where your soul will always smile. To ease the way for others or just yourself. Do you climb great mountains just to leave them unchanged? One day, the heights of Holy Fu Sea will lay as soft valleys, and we, only memories, but our children's children, will they too have reason to smile, like those dreaming strangers who finished their stairs for us. I began my journey, much like you, in a college the size of Macalester in Ohio. I was just informed I'm going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame 35 years after I first began as a student there. I will be the first Lao American to receive that honor. But what I consider more significant for our conversation today is that in college, I used that time to explore not only what they were trying to teach me, but what I could learn on my own, and in some instances, what they were reluctant to teach me because some thought it was impractical for someone like me to learn those skills. But I'd be hopeless at it. But I, like many others, went on to create some of the very first collections of poetry, short stories, future novels, plays, and movies, because at that time there were fewer than 10 books in our own words, on our own terms, about our experiences and why we were here in America. You can never underestimate how much a committed and supportive cohort of Asian American students are capable of, and how much you are capable of repeating those odds. Remember, even as late as 2020, less than 15% of most Southeast Asian American students successfully graduate college, and fewer than 1% go on to master's degrees or PhDs. And yet, many continue to persevere and change worlds. Don't give up on those who don't complete or finish their journeys immediately. History shows us time and time again they may surprise you where their destiny takes them as they find out who they are fully meant to be. 2025 marks the 50th anniversary of the end of the wars and conflicts in Southeast Asia in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia, and Minnesota is home to one of the largest enclaves of refugees and immigrants who arrived in the aftermath to rebuild their lives amid uncertain futures, with well over 120,000 with roots in the region. The Vietnamese-American writer Viet Thanh Nguyen opined, "All wars are fought twice, the first time on the battlefield, the second time in memory." In the exodus from Southeast Asia, it was not possible to bring all the books, songs, artworks, and cultural traditions that shaped so many lives. Adapting to the United States, whether for a brief moment or settling down new, lasting roots, is a challenge. We make choices between what is written down and recorded, preserved, and transmitted to the next generation, and to our neighbors and communities, both here and abroad. It is not always easy to recover the arts from our past homelands or have fully candid conversations on the events of the 20th century as refugees. But if you hear those stories, preserve them as best you can. What is a treasure to some may be seen as a triviality to another. What is part of a tradition might not be possible in the present, but we need those records, for they are far too easily erased, especially in the present. There are so many questions to be asked and considered, as we all consider the way we explore our memories, our dreams for ourselves and others, and how we participate in democracy. One of the biggest challenges for many was giving ourselves permission to own our own stories, to relate them to others in our own words and on our own terms, even if they don't always align with the established versions of history and culture. It takes tremendous courage to add our voices, to challenge records and suggest possibilities. Who gets to be a part of a story? As I said, this April, the Thai, Lao, Cambodian, and other communities celebrated the New Year. April 11th is the 30th anniversary of the founding of the Sachdam Lao Literary Project. April 17th was significant as the 50th anniversary since the fall of Phnom Penh, while April 30th was considered the fall of Saigon. Minnesota has a particular connection to this date because Operation Frequent Wind evacuated 7,000 Vietnamese refugees on several U.S. ships, including the USS Duluth. And you are a part of that journey. How will you extend it? What will you impart to the next generation? In closing, let me say once again, we love you. Thank you for staying in school, for studying and exploring. Remember who you are and where you came from. I choose to close with the words from one of my most famous poems as a reminder to all of you. A single seed can become a forest. A single heart can transform a nation. Go for it.